Good evening, fifth graders. Tonight we're going to do a little refresher on rounding. I've noticed that some of you are having some difficulties in our math boxes when having to round numbers. So I made this to kind of break it down in kind of a fun, easy way. So watch, go ahead and try them out on some sheet of scratch paper, and then check your work with me. Let's kind of look here. I call it Stan the Fisherman, aka the Rounding Man. The reason why I made this is because my grandpa, his name was Stan, and he loved to go fishing. So I was kind of thinking maybe I can kind of make something where I have a fisherman rounding some numbers. Here are the rules. Let's kind of take a look here. It says keys to Stan's success. I'm right in the middle. It says the boat must be on top of the number that is being rounded. So if we ask for a number to be rounded, so right here, round to the nearest 10, I'll be picking this 7 right here. So I move Stan on top of the 7, and I look to the right, okay? I always fish to the right of the boat. So you're always fishing to the right. Here's an example. We're always fishing to the right of the boat. So I'm looking over here on the left side of the page. Now there's keywords to define. Keeper. So take a look here. Here's my keeper. The fish is big, and you add one fish to the boat. As you can see here, it says 5 or bigger. So since this is a 9 right here, that means it's 5 or bigger. So that means I'm adding a fish into the boat, which makes it an 8. So I have 880. Over on this side, it's a catch and release because I have a 3 here to the right of the boat. And that means the fish is small, so we don't want to add it to the boat. So we're going to keep it as a 7, so we have 870. Just because it's a 3, it's less than 5. Before we get going here as well, we're going to look at some place value here. Some of you are struggling, and I'm more concerned about this 4, the 6, and the 8. The first number after the decimal is our tenths, then we have the hundredths, and then we have the thousandths. Okay, keep that right. To the right of the decimal, we have tenths, hundredths, and thousandths. Quick little refresher for you. Let's take a look at this first one. We said we want to round this to the nearest tenth, and what's behind the recording symbol? Always move Stan. So to the nearest 10, let me move in Stan to the 10, which is at the 7. Okay. Now I have to look to the right of the boat. The right of the boat is a 9. So I have to keep in mind. So this 9 right here is bigger than 5. So that means I'm at a 5 or above. It's a keeper. So I'm going to put a fish in this boat. So this becomes an 8. This becomes a 0. Let's check our work. 880 is my answer. Look at another one. I'm just going to kind of keep cruising through here. Round to the nearest 10 again. Moving all the way over to the 10. That number is a 4. Do I want to put a number in there? No, I don't. It's too small. So this becomes a 0. The rest of the problem to the left has to stay the same. So it's 1,460. You look at the next problem here. Round to the nearest 10 again. The 2. The 2 is less than 5. So it's a catch and release. So I don't want to add it to my boat. So that becomes a 0. Round to the nearest 100. Go ahead and go right to the 6. This is a 7. It's bigger than 5, so it is a keeper. So that means I have to add it to my boat. So this becomes 1 bigger than 6, which is a 7, and these numbers become zeros. What we're kind of struggling with our math box is you want to keep the 7 and the 4. No, when we're rounding, you're rounding to the nearest 100. So the answer is 9,700. Round to the nearest 100, so we're going to go ahead and move it. So we have a decimal, so we have to make sure we're at the 100 place, which is at the 8. So I'm looking here. This is a 3, so it's less than 5, so I'm at the catch and release. So I don't want this 3. So this is a 0. The rest are all zeros. So my answer should be 800. Round to the nearest 1,000. I'm here. This is an 8, which is obviously 5 or larger. So we're adding to our boat. 1 to the boat. This becomes a 3. 3,000. Round to the nearest whole. So what that means is the nearest whole number, so that's going to be going all the way to the 1 place. To round to the nearest whole number. Then all I have to do, even if there's a decimal there, I have to fish to the right of the boat. This is a 4, so that's a catch and release, so I don't want this 4. That's a 0. So my answer should be 2,980. and 11. We're on to the nearest 10th. Putting Fisherman on, stand the Fisherman on the 10th place. Remember, if you don't remember the 10th, please rewind it to the beginning of the movie where we had place value. The 9 is a 5 or larger, so I'm going to add this to the boat. So this becomes a 9, this becomes a 0. Now, keep in mind, kids, could I have a 0 here? I can have a 0 there. It's not needed, obviously, but 56 and 9/10 is the same thing as 56.90. Round to the nearest 10th again, going here to the 10th, okay? Looking to the right of the boat, it's a 1. We don't want it, so this becomes a 0, this becomes a 0. My answer, 35.7. Keep going here. Nearest 100th, coming all the way over, where's my decimal? To the 100th place, right here. This is a 3, so I'm at a catch and release, so I don't want this, so this is a 0. So my answer should be 6.900, 6.90, same thing. Nearest 100th again, I'm moving all the way over to the 100th place, looking at the 5 or larger, it's a keeper. So I'm bringing it into my boat. This becomes an 8, this becomes a 0. The rest of these numbers stay the same, kids. Let's take a look, how do we do? 69.68. We're on to the nearest 100th again. I'm at the 6, to the right of the boat, it's a 7. I want that because it's 5 or larger, so this becomes a 7, 7.97. Nearest thousandths, tenths, hundredths, thousandths. Okay, look to the right, the 6, it's a keeper. Go ahead and add to this boat. Okay, so we're going to add it there, so this becomes a 9. It's pretty tough to see. But it would be 9, 0.869. It would be 90 and 869 thousandths. On to nearest thousand, so I'm all the way here at the 2, because that's my thousandths place. Right here is my 10. Ooh. Right here is my 10,000th place at my thousandths place. Look to my 6. My 6 is larger, so I'm adding to the boat. This becomes a 3. Rest of my numbers are zeros, so it'll be 3,000. Nearest thousands, I'm going to kind of skip ahead here. Nearest whole, let's do another one of these. Coming right here to the 7, my nearest whole number. This is larger, so I'm adding it to my boats. This becomes an 8. The rest of these are zeros. Hopefully this routine's kind of helping you kids out. 908. Nearest 10th, coming right here. So let's take a look at this one. This one's a little different. I have to add this to my boat because it's larger, but then this becomes a 10. Which means I have to put the 0 here, then I have to put the 1 here. Well, this becomes a 10, so I have to put the 0 here, and this becomes a 1 here, adding to the 5. So then I have an answer of a 6. Kids, see how I had to do that? I'm going to show you this one more time in case it was confusing, okay? So I'm rounding to the nearest 10th. I just erased my poor Stan. Oh, poor guy. Just the hat left on Stan. That's kind of funny. Sorry about that. I'm going to use a different color there. So, so I'm rounding this to the nearest 10th. So right here is my 10th place, stands on there. This is larger. So I have to add 1 here. I can't put a 10 in this spot. I have to put a 0. I have to put the 1 here. But then when I add 1 to this 9, I have 10 again. But I can't put a 10 there. I have to put a 0. I have to add a 1 here, which puts a 6 there. So I have 60. Let's jump to the next page where I have Stan again. On to the nearest whole, I'm going here to the 9. That's my whole. They're here, the 7 makes this a 10. So the 0 here, put a 1 here. This makes us a 10, put a 0 here. 1 plus 1 is 2. 200 should be my answer. Hopefully this helped a little bit with rounding. I'm going to see if I have any other ones that are kind of tricky. Here's another one, nearest 10. This 8, I'm going to have to round it here. But once I add a 1 here, this becomes a 10, carry it here, so my answer would be 700. Okay. Nearest 100th, going all the way here to the 100th place. Same exact concept, okay? This 5 is 5 or larger, so I have to add here. I can't make this a 10. This becomes a 0, and I have to carry the 1 to this spot again. Well, this 9 has to become a 10 where I'm carrying 1 again. So my answer is actually going to turn out to be the number 6. All right, hopefully this helped a little bit with rounding. Please take your time and review this. And if you're really struggling, you can always go back to the very beginning and take a look at the place value again. All right, good luck. Hopefully this helped you.